this video, we're going to have a little collaboration and talk about creating a website maintenance plan and contract for your clients. And like many things, this is totally dependent on stuff I'm getting from other people. Hey there, Joomla fans. Tim Davis here. I'm a Joomla fan too, and thanks for tuning in to Watch Me Work live stream number, I don't know. Is it 44 today? 45? I'm not sure. And you probably tell from the thumbnail and notification you got about me going live that, excuse me, I am super way behind on this today. Up late. I was up late. I got up later as well. And so I'm going to fill in all of that other stuff for the for this live stream before it publishes and ends up on the channel. But I will tell you that. So today, the reason for this topic is that in my business, hello, Brian. In my business, I've been trying to shift from, I've been trying to develop these plans so that people can have hire me on a reserve basis or a retainer basis, or just to help their budgeting and to help my time budgeting, and also just to have products more clearly explained for my business and what I do. I've been working on this, and so Nikki Veitch, and I've never heard Nikki's name properly. I've never heard it spoken to know how it's pronounced properly. So Nikki, if I have slaughtered that, then I apologize. She shared a really great article on security.net on her Twitter feed. And so I thought today we'd take a look at that article and talk about it for our business. So having said that, this might actually be a really good topic today too for some of you to phone in in Zoom. So I will fire up Zoom and then we'll just have a discussion and we'll take a look at things. Also, I'll share with you a little bit later. And look at that, my curtain's not doing so great. Covering everything here, just newly installed this. Everything's a work in progress around here. I'll talk about my internet connection because I got it updated yesterday as well, upgraded. So let me switch glasses here. My remote is not working today because of the change in the network. My phone is not connecting the same network as my computer, so that's something we'll have to check into. But let's go to here with me down in the corner. All right. Don't forget to head on over to basicjoomla.com. Hey, John. And click on giveaways. Sign up for the Basic Joomla newsletter, and you'll be entered in all the monthly giveaways as long as you're subscribed and your subscription is active. All right, so now I mentioned that I got this article shared from Nikki Veitch, and she's really very active in Joomla. She's in Australia and active down there. And so I'm going to post her Twitter feed, her Twitter account there. She'd be someone you really enjoy following for Joomla stuff, and she shares some cool stuff as well. The article that she shared is from Security Blog, and I'm going to paste that in chat right now. This will all be in the video description after when the replay becomes live. If you're watching this and you haven't subscribed, please do so. Ring the bell for notifications and you will get notified when new things are happening. All right, so I'm actually, it almost seems like I'm phoning it in, but I actually want to just go through this article and we'll talk about it. And let me just also, like I said, fire up a Zoom call here. And get that on the right screen here. Do a new meeting. And I cannot join with my camera, but that's okay. I will join with my audio, and here is the link. If you'd like to get in on this, I'll post this a couple times throughout the live stream as well. All right, I'll post that there so I can get it quickly, and copy this here. Hey, if you do follow Nikki, tell her that you heard about her on the live stream. All right, so let me just get my windows all set up here. And there we go. And I can read the chat. So excellent. All right, so how to create a website maintenance plan and contract. Written by Victor Santoyo. And if you want to come on Zoom, come on, and we'll talk about this. Or if you have comments to put in chat, then that would be fine. Tell us how you do it, or if this is helpful, or maybe it's even going to change your mind about some things. So he says in his years of experience working alongside agencies, he's realized that managed providers and other web pros who offer website maintenance to their clients have a hard time convincing them on the value of managed services. And I think that's probably something that we run into. I talked to a fellow at the Chamber of Commerce and told him that I was, he also does web design and hosting, just like we do. And he said that he tried to do this maintenance plan and contract and that it did not work for him. So I can definitely right off the start see here that it is sometimes hard to convince people of getting into a maintenance plan and contract for their sites. It's interesting. Is that camera moving, or the camera is. Let me fix this here. I have the camera mounted to the wall so it doesn't move, but the screen was banging it. It's still moving, isn't it? Maybe it's an illusion. Anyways, maybe the desk is banging the wall somehow. We'll figure that out. Anyway, so it's a common mindset, much like the homeowner who's unwilling to invest in a rock-solid insurance policy, or an uninsured car owner who gets insurance after a reckless driver rams into the back of it. Oops, now what? So at Security, this guy's writing, says, understand the mindset better than most. Why pay for security when you never get hacked? So he's definitely talking about people that are looking at things in a certain way that... I figured it out. I know why this is moving. New setup here in the studio, so I'm still perfecting it. There's a wire hanging on the mic that was moving everything. Hey, there's a caller. Which means I need to switch to my earbuds here so we don't get an echo over the speaker.
Wire hanging on the mic that was moving everything.
There we go. Hello.
To switch to my earbuds here so we don't get an
There's
echo.
A big
speaker. Wire hanging on the mic that was moving everything. Hello. My earbuds.
Let me just fix this loop that's happening here.
Wire hanging on the mic that was moving everything.
Oh, there you go. That was Brian. Brian just dropped out. We're getting a loop through your microphone. Brian, if you could listen through a headset and phone in, so turn your speakers off, then that will avoid that whole echo problem. But yeah, so do try again. What I have to do to avoid the echo is I put in my earbuds here and I turn my speaker off, and then that way the microphone does not pick up what's coming out over the speaker. All right, so man, a lot of windows happening here. And we saw who else was here in chat as well. Vinny says, yeah, clients don't see the need until something goes wrong. Yes. Now, I think that there's really a couple, obviously there's different kinds of clients, but there are people who get business to a degree where they are investing and building, and so they want to have everything there and in place to build up. And then there's others that are more reactive, and they're constantly trying to catch up. I might be somewhere in the middle of those. There's probably a few things that I would like to do that I don't have the money yet to do in my business. But security is something, and maintenance is something that's really important. So I do keep everything up. Vinny says the old radio thing. We tell people who call in, which doesn't happen anymore, to turn your radio off. Yeah, so if you're calling in, just turn your speakers off, but listen with a headset or something like that. And if you're not ready for that, you can always talk another day. So this blog post was written to help startup agencies and freelancers that are still struggling to identify pricing for a proper maintenance plan. And he spoke of many developers often fall into the trap of charging low rates in order to build a larger portfolio. And in addition, this post doesn't address billing models such as annual, monthly, retainer, hourly, blah, blah, blah. Focuses on how to value the service items you're charging your clients. And I think that's good too. Sometimes we aren't always sure how to charge or what the value is in what we're doing. Maybe even because we're so busy doing the scramble to try to get things going. But that's so that's it's good to know what you're offering. Let me just I can't minimize this screen here. I'm trying to get to something to read. Uh, it's good to know what you're offering and to actually, I think, look around. That's one of the benefits too of Joomla, and I think of this channel too. When we get together, is we really get a lot of good ideas from each other, and that allows us to see ourselves into context of bigger things happening around us. So the first thing he goes on to here says, what are web pros forgetting to charge for? Depending on the type of services you're offering, this list can be long. You can forget to charge for items such as expediting a job to meet a tight deadline, charging to maintain a custom software subscription, media storage, so high-res photos and video can quickly take up storage, and markup for sales rep commission, banking fees, and miscellaneous fees for travel, gas, tolls, etc. Brian says it's hard to take off the speakers. The setup is not easy to get to your speakers. Even if you can turn your speakers off, although if you turn the volume to your speakers down and then use the headset. But I get you. I've every setup is different. So and Brian, go ahead and chat in there. Yeah, so are there any things here that you guys that rings a bell for you guys and gals rings a bell for that you forget to charge? One of the things that probably that is important that I do is in the area that's charging to maintain a custom software subscription. So sometimes we set things up for our clients, or we're managing things for our clients, and they're already paying for something, and we think, oh well, they're paying for that, I'll just take care of it. But that takes time, especially if you start to track your time with a time tracker when you're working. You'll probably find that a lot of what you're doing is taking longer than you think. So when you say, well, I'm just going to take care of this and I'll go in and I'll pay for this, and then you got to find a password, and you go in, you pay, maybe 5 or 10 minutes is being eaten up. And if you're doing that, for 5 or 6 clients, so that's an hour every month, which still in a month doesn't take up, doesn't seem like a lot of time, but there's only so much time that we have for working, and we have to have a life as well. So these are all things that are really expenses that a business runs into, and they're something that can be and should be included in a service that we offer to our clients. Brian says, do not track. You realize how much time goes. Yes. Yeah, and that's interesting. I was helping a family member yesterday with a computer problem, and so they're having problems with their Yahoo Mail, and they've had lots of problems with it. So I said, let's just set you up on Gmail. I was working remotely. They're back in Ontario, so about 3,400 kilometers away. And so it's a family member, so I wasn't going to charge them anyways. And it's an aunt who's in her 70s. And it's for her volunteer organization. So anyways, I did switch her over, but then invariably I ran into some little things that were like, oh, why is this not working? Or how do we set up email groups in Gmail instead of Yahoo and move this over? And I just realized, oh boy, this is probably going to take about an hour and a half to get everything going. And so, time can really slip away when we're working, and we're working for others. And so it really is a good idea to keep track of time, and then you'll have a good idea. Now, if you end up, and I do this lots, if I end up taking 5 hours on something, or 4 hours, or an hour and a half on something, and I get stuck and I have to fix something, or something wasn't right, or maybe I don't know where the password is, or something that's happened to me, I'll actually look at how much time it took, and then decide, well, really, I should be able to do that in X amount of time. So I'll just charge for that. One of the things that you can do is when you're invoicing them is put down the amount of time that you spent, and then give them a discount on that. Let them see how much you worked, but also you can take a bit off. So it gets down to something that seems like what you think is reasonable for that. And we'll get into that later on. Vinny says, depending on your hourly rate, that hour a month can be $100. Exactly, Vinny. Brian says he tracks, but sometimes I just do it. And if you can see it can be fixed under 5 minutes. Over 5 minutes, then I take money. Yeah, that's a great point, Brian. I think too one of the benefits of people who are in a maintenance plan or contract with you is that I tell my clients, if you want to get into a maintenance plan and do regularly, I'll charge by the minute. So if something takes me 10 minutes, I'll just take 10 minutes off the time that you've already bought. Whereas if someone just calls up and says, I need something done, then have a minimum time as well, because there's invoicing, there's there's also, don't forget, there's the tools that you're using. There's your computer, there's your internet connection. There is software that you've bought so that you can be working on things. Lots of things like that. So yeah, and a 5-minute thing here and there is great, no problem. It might be, it's maybe counterproductive. Sometimes we just do nice things and we don't want to be recognized for them. And I think that is the best plan for doing nice things for others. Do it so you're not getting recognized. If you can do it in a way that they don't even know, that's great. But in business, if you're doing lots of stuff for free and helping out and doing little things and your client doesn't know, that makes them a little bit more poachable by someone else, because they might say, hey, I'll do all these things for you, and your client might not know that you're already doing those things. So you need to find a balance there. Business is about making money to put food on your table and survive, provide for your family, to be involved in helping, to have money to help people that you're moved to help and be involved in, and so yeah, it shouldn't just be cruel grinding out money. But business is different than our personal friendships or relationships with people. And of course, there's always a blur there. And there's the emotional challenge that goes on inside of us as well. When we, maybe we feel like, we feel good when we help others. And so that's good, but it can also be crippling to business if it's out of control. But yeah, 5-minute fix or something quick, sure. That's a great thing. And I think that we all do that for people. All right, so he says, while these are a list of items very important to account for, very often it just comes down to undercharging your time, and he's seen his general philosophy described in various places. The less you charge, the more your client will attempt to take advantage of you. Psychologically, it's weird because the more you pay for something, the more you value it, and the less you complain. Some of these things we have talked about. I'll just paste this link in here again for those of you that are just on the chat. This is the article that we're looking at today. We've talked about this before, that in order to help people appreciate the value of what you're doing, you need to charge a fair price for it. The old story that's told about the people that have puppies, they put a sign up, puppies for free puppies. And nobody is taking them. So they changed the sign to say, puppies, $50 each. And all of a sudden, all the puppies are taken. So, yeah, if we are not, if we're not charging for the work that we do, set aside the 5-minute things that we do, or maybe we're helping out with someone who's in a bind. If we're not charging for what we do, I think we'll also attract people that don't want to pay, that like to get things free, and the world is full of people like that who will try to get lots of stuff for free. And we've all had clients who probably talked us down on some items, and then still want it more and more. And then once we finally kind of cracked the whip, or kind of organized ourselves, or made a statement saying, okay, now you have to pay for this, or it costs so much, they go off somewhere else and they find someone else to help them. So all the time that you offered to help them is, it's not lost because you're being a decent human being in doing that, but it's hurt your business, and you've missed fishing with bait that will attract people who are looking for value, see value, and invest in value for their business. So the more you value it, the less you complain. Let's see. Psychologically, it's weird because the more you pay for something, the more you value it, and the less you complain. What more could you value than your time? Most freelancers and startups work overtime to ensure they can continue to deliver through ongoing maintenance services for that site. How much of that overtime is being compensated for? So what's the answer? So he's not talking specifically, he's not going to talk about specifically about SEO or security focused services features. He's rather going to look at some of the recurring themes he found in whatever niche you land in. How much should I charge for website maintenance? All right, and this is really a key one for us in Joomla. If we are, and listen, all you have to do is have someone who has a Joomla site that wants it maintained, and you can charge them to maintain their Joomla site. Of course, you need to know how to do that, but that's what this channel is about. That's what the Joomla community is about, and all the resources online to learn to do that. So we're not even talking about something super complicated. We're just talking about doing things, and maybe it starts out as a side hustle, even as my business did for many years. It was a side hustle, a hobby, something fun I did on the side, learned how I could make some money, and it grew and grew. And so maybe that's how it starts for you. All right, let's review following factors when identifying how much to charge for website maintenance. Seems obvious? No. Your time versus your client. Seems obvious? No. Ask the inevitable question. Is a client a pain to work with? Are they cutting into your personal/family time? This should be taken into account as well. Trust me, I've got a wife and 2 sons who remind me a lot of that. So he's talking about family and balance. Sometimes you can't anticipate how much time your clients demand of you, but if your gut tells you something, go with it. If this is something that happens unexpectedly, then remember it's perfectly okay to fire your clients. Just as people are building businesses, businesses and are looking for quality, our clients are the quality that we are we're building our businesses. We should be looking for quality to build our businesses. And if we have a lot of clients who are not appreciative of the work that is done, or are cheap, or do not understand what's going on, and are just going to be a pain, that can really tear down our own business. And as this guy's pointing out here, that affects our personal lives, our real lives. Because business is not our real life. Who we are is our real life, and who our family, our friends, our relatives, the things, the positive things, connections that we have in the world, those are the things that our business should be supporting. And so to a large degree, our personal lives are not something that is a resource to put into our businesses. Yes, there's going to be busy times. Yes, there's going to be times where it's like, something, a site just went down. I've got to get up. I've got to go. So we're going to have to delay going out for coffee. It's all of a balance, though. Brian says he has a monthly plan to update Joomla and extensions and taking backup. Great, and those are just even core things that we can offer to other people. Say to them, do you back your site up? Maybe I think my internet host does. Oh, well, do you have access to that? Do you have a personal copy? Do you update your site and extensions and security? That's just the beginning to get your foot in to talk to someone. And if you provide good service for them, if they have some problems or with their site or some work that needs to be done, you can put yourself out there and say, hey, if there's other things you want me to do for you, let me know. Vinny's got that as well. I do as well, and I'm actually have a very low maintenance price from back in my pre-full-time business days, and so that's why I've really been thinking a lot about moving towards the subscription model or the monthly maintenance or the maintenance plan. All right, so money isn't everything, but you should value your time and charge more if you anticipate more phone calls and Skype sessions. As an example, an agency we contracted recently gave us 3 different price point options for the type and depth of support. Slack only, Slack and email, and weekly calls. You could add different plans and prices for SEO backups and website security. If you listen to the Joomcast interview with Adam Melker, who is, I think that's the last one that's up right now on Joomcast, he shared with us offline, after we're done recording, his pricing plan. He was also doing some work on these things. And I noticed in his different packages, one of the things that he offered was, like in the base package was email support, and then in an advanced package it was phone support. And I thought, wow, that's pretty cool. I had never even thought about having a package where people say, yeah, you can email through my help desk and I'll get to it as soon as possible. But if you need to get a hold of me, here's the package. You can phone me. So that's really something to think about as well. Ivor also does the maintenance package. Yeah, this is, this is, it's not just Joomla. There's everything. Even Windows has updates that need to be run. And so that's just part of the online world that we live in. You could add different plans and prices for SEO, backups, and website security. Yeah, so maybe you just got your maintenance, but then you also, do people want SEO? Create a package that they can add on, and then you really have a big picture of what you're offering, and that allows not only people to see that, but it probably allows, and this is one of the things that I'm hoping will come as I get this organized, it allows you to express it easier to people that are looking for something. The other day, I was at a wedding on Saturday and talking to someone and talking about the work that I do, and he said, do you do social media? And I said, no, I don't. I'm not really strategic about social media, so it's not something that I do. I realized after and I think he was probably asking for his business, on behalf of the business he worked for. I probably should have said, when I did tell him I knew people, but I missed the chance to say, I can manage social media. I can hire someone and I can get that all set up for you. Someone who's competent. I know them through the Chamber of Commerce. I'd be happy to manage that take that off your hands. So right there, that's another service that you can offer. Even if you're not just doing something, you can manage projects or aspects of business for clients as well. And then just charge for your time on top of that, or perhaps a percentage of what they charge. So that's there's lots of things there, and we ask ourselves, so it's good to ask ourselves, what else? How can we value our time and charge money? Also, it says if you anticipate more phone calls and Skype sessions. I have one client who is so cheap, so super cheap, and I've had them for a long time, and they. When I quote on jobs for them, I quote on knowing that I'm really going to get a lot of phone calls from them, because they were once invoiced. A plan changed. They're not hosting with me, but a plan changed. $4.95 a month, $4.95 a month for hosting, and that's what I told them it would be when they changed. And then the bill came through at $5 and something. They said, "What's this extra 27 cents or whatever it was?" And I said, "That's because that company charges taxes. I don't have to charge tax yet. Now I do charge tax." But I mean, I just like a 5-minute phone call to go over every line of every invoice. So I know that working with them is going to take more time. So I quote higher for them. And actually it's worked out well in one sense, because their website needed to be updated. And I said, "Oh, well, you need to run updates on your site." And so I charged them an hourly rate to do the work all at once. I said to them, "But if you want to sign up for monthly management, I'll just take care of that for you." And they said, no, how much is that? No, we don't do that. So then later on, just a couple months ago, I got a phone call saying, "Hey, we keep getting these red boxes at the top saying to update the site. How, what's that about?" And I said, "Well, you need to run updates and put in their security patches and update extensions." I said, I told you about this and I offered to manage it monthly, but you declined that service, but I'd still be happy to do it, and here's how much it would be. So then later on, they get a phone, I follow up with them. "Oh yeah, no, we're just going to try to do it ourselves." So I thought, great, try to do it yourself. And if you can, wonderful, because it's their site. And if not, I'm going to make some money fixing it. So so anticipate that with your clients. And you should also be honest. Let's move this paragraph right here. You should also be honest about what your personal life demands. If you don't work on Saturdays to observe the Sabbath, then your client should expect little to no response on those days. Set the right expectations. And this touches on something that's super important, is communication. And even, so often when we're communicating things, we think we're communicating, but we're missing things. So or the person hears something different, or what we've said, we have one intent, but they interpret it differently. So yeah, be very clear. If you say, I am Jewish, and so from Friday sundown until Saturday sundown, I don't work, and so I won't be available for things. Then or contact, then just communicate to them. If it's my kids are involved in sports and they play every Saturday afternoon in a league, and I will not be available, then you let people know that. Or just whatever is happening in your schedule. And if they truly value it, says, this is a good line, I think. If they truly value, then they'll understand. And down here also it says, if they continue to insist, then include an upcharge fee for any work required on the Sabbath, for example. And in fact, I would even say this: if there's a block of time that's super important to you, for your personal life or for your spiritual life, instead of violating that, just say to clients, saying, hey, if you really want that available, I'm going to have to hire staff members in order to cover for me because I'm the only person here. I introduced myself in some of my videos as the founder, owner, and chief janitor here at Cybersalt. And one of the things that I've been realizing, and I'm gearing up to talk to a couple of my clients, is that they really need to have a hosting solution that is better monitored. So for instance, you see me post these pictures and I take people up to go see the big trees a couple hours from my house. There's no cell service up there. And so for those couple of hours, or maybe for a day, I'm gone. And which is fine because everything runs really well. And some of my clients, if email goes down for a couple hours, it's not going to kill them. And I think they understand that. Although maybe I should clarify that too in my plans as I re-release them. But I got a couple of clients, especially one that's really super. They need to be up. And so I'm going to be talking to them about, and I don't have money to hire someone to take on that role and to coordinate it. I'm not in that place right now. So I'm going to encourage them to get a dedicated server. I'll help them with that, with a company that monitors uptime, and that they themselves, like, I'll continue to serve them, but they can also have someone that they can fall back on, or I'll help them find someone who can go and be a fallback on that. But let them handle it because it's a liability that I'm not covered for yet in my business, and it's just not a service I'm able to provide. Ivor says, important. He's retired and they're often traveling. No fun to wake up with a phone call in the middle of the night in Bangkok with a support question. Exactly. So those are good things to have in mind. And so set the right expectations, and the expectations really depend on what our expectations and what we're looking for depends on the type of clients that we're going to have too. So let's see. I can't remember who this was, but there's a client the other. I run into people Chamber of Commerce meetings and become aware of needs, and I think, I see a big company. I think, it'd be great to be working for them. But then I realized, no, they're going to need like a lot of support during the day. They're going to need a lot of me going over to their office and working. And right now, they're too big for me, just me by myself. Maybe down the road when I have other people and learn those skills, maybe I will be able to get some people who are taking on those jobs. But right now, for my life and for everything that's going on, not only with business, but the stuff that my wife and I are involved in outside of business, and then family as well, grandkids, it's like, no, that's a client that doesn't fit in with where I am right now. And the last thing you want, not only is Ivor says, last thing you want is the support call in the middle of the night in Bangkok. The other last thing you want is stress in your life because a company is super upset with you because they're not getting what they thought they were getting or need, and you can't supply it, and then that's who needs that. All right, what is required? How much experience do you have to fulfill your clients' ongoing requests? We're just talking about that. Be honest. This could range from website security services, backup deployments, or core update audits to ensure that the site doesn't break. Also be honest about the time it will take you to execute these tasks when requested, because you may be in the middle of moving 4 sites into production, or you may have all the time in the world. So yeah, have an idea of really what everything takes because this contract this maintenance contract, this thing that you're setting up, it is a contract. So you've got to be doing this regularly according to how you offer things to them. Also, how much time does it really take? The great thing about mysites.guru, which used to be myjoomla.com, is that it's a great tool to manage lots of Joomla sites. But I have found that there's a bunch of things in Joomla sites that go south that really require individual attention to fix it up. Now, it's great that mysites.guru will tell you those things and alert you. That's powerful. But you just have to put hands on some of those websites. I've got one website that I don't know why, but I can run updates on mysites.guru on all the Joomla sites, but this one will not update, and it doesn't even remember what's being updated. So I have to go in and manually figure that out. Now, if I'm charging just a small amount, saying, hey, I've got mysites.guru, so I can manage your site for X number of dollars a month or a year, and it's super low, then sure, you can do all that stuff fast. But then when you have to put extra time in, then it really can explode out. Blobware, I forget what the software is. Bloatware. Well, clients or these monthly tasks can bloat to a huge volume if something happens. Even if you're maintaining. So another example would be if I update an extension on all my Joomla sites, and then it turns out there's a problem with it, and you have to go in and undo things, then you're into a lot more time. So what's required, and what do you have time to do? The other thing too is that if the balancing thing of a monthly contract is a lot like some of our utility bills. I imagine, I only know utility bills here in Canada, but I can pay my hydro, which in Canada is the electric bill. Or we call it hydro because there's so much hydroelectric. So, and the company is called hydro. Anyways, hydro is electric in Canada. So I can pay my bill every month what it is, or I can pay the same amount every month, and the utility company, hydro company, averages it out, and I have that constant fee. So not only does having a maintenance contract or a retainer for clients help them to do the same thing, it helps you also manage out your time too, because maybe there's a month or two where hardly anything is required. Well, that's great. Your business is running, you're making money, but then later on, there's something huge that needs to be done, or something happens, and then it's like, oh, okay, now I've got that block of time for that. And we may even be able to say, it's going to take an hour and a half, but not much was required last month, so I'll just take care of all this for them and let them know. Then that can work out really well. So it's a really averaging thing. And I know that Vinny does his rollover minutes too with his clients. He has packages where they can buy time. If they don't use them in a month, they roll over for however long a period. Let me catch up and chat here. Brian, do I have JSN extensions on that? Are you talking about mysite.gurus? Mysite.guru? JSN extension. JSN. Which one is that? Iris says sometimes problems with new PHP version. Yes, I'll tell you. When at the beginning of the year, when PHP 7.0 was end of life, and 5.6 went shortly after that, and I was switching things over, I was spending a lot of time fiddling with little things, and things were coming up like templates. So people had older versions of templates wouldn't work in PHP 7.1 or 7.2. So I started figuring those out. Now, that's something else to think about. It may be that in the contract, in the agreement, that you specify, first of all, if you're maintaining a Joomla site, that it only applies to minor version upgrades. So like 3.9 to 3.8 to 3.9, something that stays 3. When 4 comes out, it's going to be a lot of work, and you can't just say to people, 4 came out this week, I'll just take care of it, and you'll lose tons of time. They need to understand that there's some other things happening in their business. Also, you might include PHP versions. From time to time, PHP versions reach end of life, and this requires a lot of extra time to keep your site secure. Give them a little blurb about what PHP is and why it's important to keep it up to date, and let them know that so they can anticipate. So in a year's time, you can say, hey, remember I told you that hey, there's a new PHP version out. It's going to take me an extra hour and a half to get your site compliant with that because you have some other things that are no longer working. Vinny says, when clients do have issues, you don't charge extra. It's part of the service, since for you, most of the time, there isn't a problem. Yeah, good point. And so if there are issues and they're on that retainer, you're going to say, you can, in fact, the great thing that you can do is, so let's say this month they pay, you have a package that's $199. This month, so they paid $199, it's there on the invoice, and you do, and that includes 2 hours work. And so you can put in how much time you spent on doing certain things, and you can take away from their balance, or you can demonstrate what was done, or send them a note saying, hey, you picked out of your 2 hours, this is what we did, plus also extra because it's just part of the plan. So it's all communicating and letting them know. Here's something I don't think about very much either, and this is this. Priority deadlines should come with priority fees. All right, so if something needs to be rushed, and that there's extra value in that. I tell you, a lot of this stuff does not come naturally to me because I come from previous work experience and role, a role I still have to some degree, where it's helping people and trying to better them and really try to give of yourselves to help things go well. So if someone calls up and says, hey, I've got a crisis happening here, I need help with this, you don't say, ho, I get to charge more money for this. You say, hey, how can I help you? Let me do that. In business, again, we want to be human, we want to be decent, but in business, if there's a rush or something that's not anticipated and people are really pushing for something, then there is extra value to that. And that speaks too about having an hourly rate that is outside of your contract time. So if you have 10 clients who are contracting with you for 2 hours a month for maintenance, and that includes 2 hours as needed or that they ask for, you've got to fulfill that. And if someone comes along and says, oh, you're the answer to my dreams, I need you to do this, and I need it done right away, can you do it? You've got a lot of other things to do. So if you've got to take on extra time or shift your life around, or that stuff has a higher value. If you can say to them, yes, I'm able to do that. Right now I've got a lot of obligations, and so I'll be able to do that in a week and a half. If they say, no, you must do it now, we need it now, say, okay, I can move some things around, but it's going to, the emergency rate or the high pressure rate or whatever you're going to call it is this amount. And if the person says, yes, that's important, great, I'll do it, then good. It's good for your business. And they're getting good quality. And if they say, oh, no, well, I can wait, then you realize, aha, here's someone that is not quite in sync with what their needs are. And I think part of us doing all this stuff too and communicating clearly is going to let people know. It's going to help them in business. For instance, take e-commerce sites. I did an e-commerce site. Some of you have maybe heard this story before, but I did an e-commerce site years ago, and I was having a real struggle trying to get it to connect to Moneris as a payment system. And we're talking like maybe 10, 12 years ago. I got so bogged down on it, and I'd quoted on it. I realized that I probably was making $2 an hour by the end. And so I realized that people that want to do e-commerce, people who want to make money off their sites, it's not up to me to contribute and donate to their businesses. Now, if they're an organization, they want to take memberships to help build things up, great. If it's a nonprofit that you want to help or something that you're able to help out with, okay, give them a good rate. But business, not everyone understands the value or what it costs to go in business. And part of our responsibility as good maybe consultants or however we title ourselves is to help them value their business and understand what's required. And if they don't get it, then, as we read earlier in this blog, perhaps they should be fired as clients because they're not going to help us build what we should do. Ivor asks, what do you do with upgrading paid extensions? That's a really good question, Ivor. So I was talking to Chayton Madon about this the other day. Let me just post this article as people are coming and going. This is what we're looking at today. And I think it depends on the size of the number of clients you have to be able to do this. So, for instance, if you have two people and they're paying you each whatever you charge, say $100 a month to manage their sites. So you have $200 a month. But they have on their Joomla sites extensions that in order to renew them, it's going to cost maybe $250 for the memberships. Let's say one has Community Builder, the other one has Joom Social, and together they're using different shopping carts and they have pro features. You're just going to lose your money by paying for the memberships in order to maintain their sites. So at that point, you would have to say, I'll maintain your site and all your free extensions. If you have anything that's paid that requires a membership, then you'll still need to renew that. I'll send you the link to how to do it or whatever and remind you. And I think they'll understand with that. So I have a couple of clients that use ACY mailing, a professional version, enterprise, and so I let them know when that needs to be renewed. Now, when I was talking to Chayton about this, he made a really good point. If you're at the size with a lot of people, you can say, we have access or we will take care of all of the extension needs of your site. And so you would have enough people that are running things where you could say, okay, let's say you have 5 clients and they're paying you $100 a month. That's $500 a month. And one comes up and it's like, oh, it's time to renew this person's Community Builder membership. And then, so you think, okay, I'll buy a membership, and because they're paying and it's open source, I can then, through my time, charging for my time, use this for free for them on my membership. And now you have it for your other clients. Now remember, open source, so we cannot sell extensions. So we cannot say, okay, look, I have this great extension from Regular Labs, Peter Van Westen has done it, and I will buy it, and then I will charge you to use it. And then someone else comes along and says, hey, do you have this extension? Oh, yes, I will buy it, and you can use it. That's not kosher. That is not how it works in open source. But you can say, oh, yes, I do have access to that. I will put it on your site, and I'll charge you $25 to install it and set it up. And that's your time. So at that point, if we can get to the size, then I think then we're really helping by saying, yeah, we'll maintain your site. You might actually even get to the point where you say, I'll even pay for your domain each year, depending on the package that they're using, depending on what kind of client that they are. You might say, because you say, I'll pay for one domain like a .com, .org, .net. So for instance, if I have a .press, I think it's something like $80 American. You might not want to spend $80 American just on that one domain. So that's something to, I think that there's 2 options there, what to do with upgrading paid extensions. You can tell them, hey, well, I'll upgrade your paid extensions as long as they're paid, and when they're not, I'll let you know, and that's something that you can do. Now, having said that, I do manage paid extensions for people. So in the case of ACY mailing, someone that wants the enterprise version, I'll say, oh, there's a version where you can schedule posts. Would you like that? Yes. It costs so and so much. Yes. So I will buy it for them. And then, of course, that goes on my credit card. And then the statement comes in. And then my wife has to, when she's doing some credit stuff, she sees it or it takes time to manage it. So I'll add a percentage on top of the cost of buying it. I'm not selling it to them. I'm just charging sort of an administrative fee for the bookkeeping, and or perhaps maybe I'll just charge time on that. Now, if you have a maintenance contract with someone, you say, oh yeah, I'll take care of it. That can come out of the time that they pay for every month. So it's like, I'll buy that for you. I'll invoice you for it. And the time to handle all of that's already covered by your management subscription. Okay, well, the confidence to charge. Oh boy, here's something that strikes home for me. There will always be other people out there who charge less and those who are more expensive. It's the nature of the online landscape. The biggest issue I've seen is that if you make your prices too low, you won't make enough money to sustain yourself. The next consequence is that clients often anticipate similarly low-priced add-ons. That won't always be possible. So if you're charging $6 a site per month, but website security or daily backups may cost $15 a site or month, reactions from clients that are used to such low payments won't always be positive. On the other hand, if you're already charging $30 to $50 a month for general maintenance, then a $15 a month add-on doesn't seem nearly as prohibitive. We're circling back to setting the right expectations when it comes to pricing as well. I have a hard time in this area of confidence to charge. And I really have and am growing in this through contact with you guys here in the channel and others that I talked to about this, and reading articles and just being part of the Joomla community, seeing resources like this. For instance, I would never, as I said, seen this if I wasn't following Nikki on Twitter. I'll post her link there again. And so to be confident to charge something, it does not come naturally to me. I tend to shoot too low. No, I mean, sure, there's always going to be people say you're crazy asking for that much. That's too much. But I need to really work on this set of value. And I think what the point here in the article here too is good is that if you're charging low prices for things, people expect low prices. So look for, we're looking for people that we figure out what our budget is, what we need to sustain, our goals to maintain, what we want to be making. We put that out there and we look for people that are going to pay that. And having decent pricing is not going to make another add-on seem like super outrageous, because the add-on itself is smaller than what they're already paying. Johan says, do people use Joomla extensions for selling and maintaining subscriptions? Yes, that would be... and hello, Johan. I don't think I said hi to you yet. Do people use Joomla extensions for selling and maintaining subscriptions? I know that I've seen J2 stores used where people can buy and subscribe. That's great because that's a reoccurring subscription. So they can sign up for that. PayPal, that's not a Joomla extension. You were asking about that. You could use a donation software to get people to give each month. Vinny uses OS membership. Chuck says he doesn't have enough clients yet to do that. Certainly. Hey, the crazy thing is, I just realized this the other day. I think I've showed you this. All right. Go to my cybersalt.org site here. And if I go to inspiration, be a billionaire fundraiser. So I had someone send me a bunch of Zimbabwean money that was like $10 billion, $20 billion. And sets and stuff like that. And so I sell this as a fundraiser to help out with some things that Susan and I do on the side, ministry that we're involved in. And I hadn't sold any of these for a long time. Then all of a sudden, I sold a couple because I have an ad in one of my mailings. And I realized, oh my goodness, I have a site sitting there selling things and taking credit card payments. It just works. It's like, wow. And so in our own businesses, we can, just like we would be building them for clients, we can use these tools just to create something for ourselves. It just struck me as cool that I could actually, someone sent me something, this served a purpose, I took some pictures, I set it up, and the thing works. I know, which sounds kind of dumb. I'm not surprised that it works, but I just thought, well, look, I can sell stuff. and anybody can. So in our businesses, we can set up for that as well. And it may very well be, and as Chuck says, he doesn't have enough clients. Even just J2 Store sets up so easily. You could just sell it as a product and say to people, "Oh yeah, I can help you with this," or "Do you want to pay your bill? Here, I'll send you a link. Just go and buy 2 hours, and here's what you can, and here's how you can pay." PayPal, you can invoice through PayPal. You don't have to be super big at all. You can just ask a person for money once and set up and send an invoice. So how many of you have a website for their own products or affiliates? Okay. So Chuck, I just showed you that one there. I did set up a website, oh boy, more than a year ago. A year ago, March, I had it set up. And a big plan that I had, it didn't work, but you could actually have it so that if people, there was an affiliate program, so that if people purchased something through their person's affiliate link, it was tracked and they got percentage. And that works inside of J2 Store. And I think that there is an affiliate program that works with J2 Store. I forget what that was. I also tell people that if they bring me new business, I'll give them 10%. So there's one guy over in Vancouver. I've helped him out with his site. He's pretty happy, and I just say to him, "Hey, find me some websites, and I'll give you 10%." So that's easy to track. If someone says, "Yeah, so and so is going to call you, and they're doing this," and then you can say, "Hey, thanks very much," and you can offer to apply it to their bill, or you can just send it to them. Send it to them in an Amazon card. You can send it to them by PayPal. If you want to get into writing checks and mailing them out, then you're starting to take a lot of time. But hey, even if you have programs, you can say to people, "Hey, if you refer a new client to me and they buy a website, I'll give you a $100 Amazon card." The great thing about the Amazon card is that you can just buy it and send it, so it's very efficient. And people get excited about Amazon cards because they think of things that they would like to do. I suppose it's the same thing. Yeah, I'll give you $100, but an Amazon card has that added cool thing of going on and shopping and stuff. So, anyone else of you have a website for your own products or affiliates, or show something on your website of how your clients see and buy? Go ahead and share them here in chat. Let's see what your product pages are. Or your plans are. Totally. Let's promote your stuff here in chat. And if you can't post a link, it's because you don't have a wrench, but we'll have a wrench granting ceremony if you don't. All right. Let's go down here. Yes, Stephen. Hi, Stephen. Yeah, PayPal payment, exactly. And you could say to them, "Yeah, you want an Amazon card, or I'll send it to you by PayPal. Just give me your address, and you can send it to them." Good. Yeah, that's another way to do it. There are so many things. Remember, years ago, it used to be you needed like $35. Well, for me, it would be $35 a month for a merchant account with a credit card supplier. And then if you were going to take credit cards, then there'd be the fee on top of that. And you had to have a business account at a bank. It was like, oh my goodness, where do the poor people or the little people do for processing credit cards? And then, of course, PayPal came along. And now businesses are using PayPal, big businesses. It's about the same rate for credit card transactions. And then you've also, now this is not so much for payment, but you've got Square, you've got Stripe for receiving payments. But yeah, for those affiliate payouts, PayPal works really well as well. Or maybe they're local and you're just going to take them something. All right, Lifehacker offers guidance on adding a profit margin between 10 and 30%. It'll offer extra cushion when you need it, and enough for growth and other financial needs when it comes to website security. This person writing this says he's heard from various partners that 25% does often land as the most effective markup. You can take a simple approach with other third-party vendors you'll need to include with your proposals. All right, so if you are getting things and you're charging for managing other things or getting other things, then you can mark it up 25%. I do this with domain registrations. So people say, "Oh, I would like to register a domain," or I'm going to register a domain for that. Can I do that through you? And I say to them, yes, you can do it through me. And I'll tell you what, this is what my price is. Now, I don't want them to say, okay, for a .com, I don't want them to say, oh, I forget what I charge for .com right now. Let's say it's $16.95, I think, Canadian. Let's say it's $16.95. I don't want them to go and then suddenly see an ad online that says GoDaddy registered your .com for $2, and then think, oh my goodness, he charged me $16.95 for something I could have gotten for $2. Now I don't go out and give prices everywhere and we're talking about value and pricing here and being confident to charge. But I do say to them, I charge $16.95 or whatever it is for a domain, for a .com. And I said, if you go to GoDaddy, you can get it much cheaper. But GoDaddy's got a lot of stuff that you have to manage and navigate. I said, with me managing your domain for you, if you need to change your address or need something done, you just let me know. You call me. I just take care of it. And I said, but if you want to save money with GoDaddy and you need help later on, then you can always pay me the time then. So, I gotta take a deep breath here. So let me just read here. Steven says he's interested in building his first e-commerce site. Steven, I think this is your first time in chat today, right? Where are you, by the way? And welcome. Steven's interested in building his first e-commerce site in Joomla. What do you recommend? Seems like a lot of folks like Hikashop and J2Store. Have you used either? Steven, I like J2Store. I think, and Vinny's going to come on and say that he is a fan of Hikashop. And so I like J2Store because the products are actual. Oh, you're in New York City. Welcome. I like J2Store because the products are actually articles. You have a Joomla article, you do it all up as all your information, and then there's a tab and you can set it and you can make it an article. So you can make it a product in your store. Actually going to be doing some narrating on some videos for J2Store in a little while. And Chuck uses ECWID, ECWID. And Johan likes Hikashop. So yeah, Stephen, I would think right now the two that I hear the most when people ask the question about e-commerce, the two I hear answer the most are J2Store and Hikashop. You also hear of Virtumart, but I think that it has really come out of its own in the last while. It is very powerful and there's still lots of people using it, so I'm not dissing it. But I think the ones that have really are really trending and have really great momentum are J2Store and Hikashop. Steven says that's what you're looking for. You want an extension that uses native Joomla articles. You don't like K2. Okay. Vinny says Hikashop is bloody confusing sometimes to manage and set up. Okay. Yeah, and, Stephen, about J2Store using the articles, because you say you don't like K2. Yeah, it's nice to have things in the core, and we talk about that here on the channel a lot. Let's try to do as many things as possible with the core. So with the shopping carts that have their own system, you create products and you put pictures and you put the information, the content or descriptions and all sorts of things like that. And then, so you have sort of a whole separate area for maintaining things. And once you get it, the e-commerce stuff is a real bear to set up anyways. It takes a lot of time. So that's why, if you're selling a basic 4-page website to someone and saying, you're just going to have a home page, contact page, an about page, telling the story of the business, and some other page, a blog set up for them, then that's pretty core. And if someone says, I would like to sell some things on my site as well, then it's like, oh, yeah, that's not just an extra hour's work. It takes a lot to set up. So, but yeah, so I do like J2Store for the fact that it is in the articles. Now, I will say this, that J2Store's model is they have the free version, and then you can beef it up by buying the plugins that you need. So I have a client that receives payments through merchants. I forget the name of the company up here. They went through Costco. And it's the same. They got a deal through Costco for processing credit cards. And what they, and so I went. J2 Store had a plugin, a payment plugin. So I paid, I think, my client paid $29 American, and put it in there. We put in a bit of information, and there they were paying through that merchant service that they wanted to. So the cost of J2 Store is low for the professional version, but there's lots of parts to buy too. But having said that, you're only buying the parts that you want. Head on over if you want to hear about, let me just plug this one here. If we go over to joomcast.com, scroll down to, and I'll post this here, and Joomcast episode 5A and 5B with Ramesh. He is the owner of J2 Store. So listen to 5A and then listen to 5B. Really, really interesting talk about e-commerce there. So, so and definitely check those out. Now, and my point about J2 Store is that some of the other when you buy professional versions of other shopping carts, the cost is more, but more is included. There might be a lot of stuff that you don't want or don't need. So 6 of one, half dozen other, but definitely try out. And there are free versions of them, so have a look at them. But yeah, really like J2 Store. And that is what I've got running on my site, selling that hyperinflated Zimbabwean currency. All right, 25% markup on stuff. Steven says he prefers paid extensions over free because you like to support the developer, and you've also been burned from using free extensions. Yes, yeah, and that's great to support the developers. And like we talked about in the one live stream on the channel, how can you tell what's a good extension? It's not that free extensions are bad, because there's some very devoted, committed developers of free extensions, but in some extensions that are complex, in order, the amount of time and effort to keep them going, you need to hire people, and especially if you're looking at you don't want to set up a store and something free and find out 6 months later, they're not going to do that anymore. They had some great ideas, but they need to get on with life and make some money too to put food on the table. So it's good to know that, hey, here's a solid company, here's a solid product they charge, it's going to be around, and it gives you stability for that. All right, so that's 25% markup. That's the last thing we looked at here. All right, the extras. Do you charge your clients for things? Is support good for J2 Store? Have you ever had to contact them for support? Yes. J2 Store support is awesome. You'll hear in that interview that Ramesh's goal is that within 24 hours, within 24 hours, or that people hear back from a support request. So that might not happen over a weekend, and their support is in the Indian time zone. So sometimes there is a difference in time zone, and that for complex things, 2 to 3 business days. So they really are good. They're on Twitter, and I just the other day contacted them about. We got a message about a client got a message saying a payment couldn't go through, and the message was blank. And I asked if there was a log for payment gateway activity, and then they asked me. I showed them the email, so I'm in there. So they are good. Brian, have a good night, man. I know it's getting late there where you are. Vinny says, best free extension, Hoda Meta. There you go. Yeah, so Vinny giving an example of a free extension that is excellent. Hoda Meta from our friend John Moholt here watching right now, I think. And Steven, 2 good free extensions you've used are Foca downloads and J events. But those are rare. Yeah, there's a lot. And regular lab support is great, as Johan points out. And if you need it all, yeah, there's tons of lots of support to read on regular labs, and support videos that are on there. There's a lot of good free extensions. The again the yeah, no, Foca downloads. Yeah, I knew that you meant that one, Stephen. There's a lot of good free extensions, but e-commerce is complex. It's very detailed. If you want inventory management, blah 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 blah, other things, then you're going to you're going to want a lot of features in it. And then if it's like I don't need a lot of features, I need something for someone to click and pay, then you can just do a quick button on PayPal. But if you're selling things, and really nice too for selling digital stuff as well. All right, the extras. Do you charge your clients for things like weekly meetings or time spent researching new technologies? You may not realize this, but those are absolutely billable to the client. Any secondary resources you spend on a client should be reflected in your compensation. Itemize all of it. Having said that, the more a project allows you to refine your skills, the more leniency you can have on price. In the long run, you become more marketable and potentially able to command higher fees. I really know clearly what this person's talking about. So for instance, I have a client who will say, we want to look into the possibility of such and such a technology for our business. Will you look into it? And I do look into it. I keep track of the time and I charge them for that. And on my invoices, I just call that consulting. It'll be consulting, and it will say investigating the use of such and such technology for improving conferences or whatever. And then I'll charge my time. Now, there are other things too where I'll run into a problem, or there's something, or they'll say, hey, we want to have such and such a feature on our site. Is that possible? Can you look and check into that? So I'll get looking, and I'll say maybe I'll see 4 or 5 different extensions, and I'll check out each of them, and then I'll see it's these 2 are good, and then I'll do some tests, and I'll spend maybe 10 hours, who knows how long. At the end, and I come down and say, hey, here is the best way to go in this. I don't feel confident to say to my clients, hey, I found a good extension for you, and here's 10 hours invoice for it. Because I'll know the next time I can say to when someone says, hey, we'd like to do such and such in our business, I can say, I know a great extension that will do that, and it's got all the features you're looking for, and it'll take me, and I'll charge you X amount to set it up. Now I'm making money on that other time because I've been able to charge more, and I'm not charging something ridiculous to my client on that. So sometimes you're looking at things and doing things that are billable. Other times it's like, hey, I'm only getting better from this, and now I'm going to be able to offer something new to other people. Then you can balance that out. You'll see in various places that your daily rate should be approximately 1% of your annual revenue target. An SEO consultant who feels $250,000 would be the going salary for her expertise should charge $2,500 per day, or $250 per hour for ad hoc maintenance management services. The goal is to remain sustainable. Vinny says, my time is not ridiculous. How do you mean? Those estimates that I just said there? Oh, Johan, you're leaving too. The Netherlands, Joomla, yes. No, Johan, have a good night as well. I thought it was Brian that left earlier too, right? I think so. It seemed like I'm saying bye to the same people over and over again. Yeah, so here's a really neat formula here. Take what you think your yearly pay should be and charge 1%, and that's your daily rate, and then your hourly rate is 10% of that as well. 10%, yes. 1%, so $250,000 salary, charge to $2,500 or $250. Hi, good to see you, man. I haven't seen you for a while in chat. How's it going? If it takes you time, you should charge for your time. Maybe have a different rate for research. Yeah, that's a good point that Vinny makes there. Maybe have a different rate for things. Another thing, too, that I saw on Adam Malker's packages is that he offers a different hourly rate depending on the package. So let's say you're charging $99 a month for a basic package, and then your hourly $99 a month for the package. Your normal hourly rate, let's say, is $100 an hour. We just use round numbers. But then you can say, hey, if you are on the basic maintenance package, it includes for $99 in the month, it includes an hour of work, and extra hours will only cost you $85 instead of the normal $100. That's adding value to a person, and they, in the sense that they might say, hey, if I need extra work, it's going to save me. Now, with the bigger packages, you can offer an even bigger savings. So you can say, hey, if you $300 a month will get you X number of hours each month based on this rate, and also I'll be maintaining that, and then extra hours are even less. And so people, it's going to help them to budget. And so, yeah, why not charge different time a rate? You can say, hey, yeah, I'll research into that. My research rate is less than the hourly rate because I will also learn some things along the way. But anyway, so I'll be charging 3/4 of the rate to research that for you. Yeah, have different charges for different things. I got a piece of fluff. Look like a cat here. All right. Hi, we are looking at this link, which you would not have seen now that you're just in chat. We're looking at this article on creating, yeah, there it is there, on creating website maintenance plans. All right, so there are many online calculators to help you determine a rate that makes freelance work sustainable. Leverage those tools to help to pick the right expectations for you and your livelihood. That is hot linked. New school, potential client wants a proposal to, okay, that's something we could check out later on. Cool. All right, so check out that link there. It's in the article as we're going down here. The size of your business. Some of the topics we touched on may not apply to you. If your client portfolio is large enough to absorb some of these items' value, an agency with 200 clients looking to expand won't necessarily have to worry about re-examining the business model to remain sustainable, whereas a small 2-person agency with a dozen clients has to. Or an agency that's just one person, a one-person agency. Solo, what am I registered with the government? I'm a solo proprietorship. So I'm not incorporated. I'm just a me. For those successful agencies, I've heard them recount falling into the trap of experiencing so much growth that they overlook taking the time to evaluate every detail of the project and shortchange themselves. One agency told me, we started onboarding several dozens of new projects over the last 2 months on our production server. I didn't anticipate how much bandwidth they were taking up. Those costs are starting to stack up. Now I'm trying to find a vendor to help me offset the bandwidth costs from my host. They likely didn't budget for and charge for estimated bandwidth traffic to the site. If they had, the cost for that growing traffic would have solved itself. Stephen, do I work for security? Am I a full-time Joomla designer developer? Just curious, and this is your first time watching, and you'll probably become a regular. That's great. No, I don't work for security. So I follow Nikki Veitch on Twitter, and she shared this article. And this is a topic that I'm working on in my own site, my own business, because I'm trying to figure out packages. So I am a full-time. I'm a full-time consultant, is what I'm calling myself. I do build Joomla sites. I'm not a developer in the sense that developing needs a lot of planning, a lot of programming. So I'm not a programmer. So I use tools that are out there, templates, Joomla, just like everybody else does, extensions, and build sites for clients. Also try to, so there's the consulting side too, where I show them how maybe they want to do something, and I tell them, yeah, there's so many solutions in Joomla. Like, if they say they want to sell mittens, then I tell them, oh yeah, we can set up an e-commerce site, and I'll tell them about PayPal or different things. So I do consulting in that sense, just simply because I've been doing this for a while. I am full-time. I've only been full-time since October 2017. Before that, I was pastor of a local church and pastored local churches for 28 years. And so this was sort of a fun hobby and a side hustle, and grew into a business on the side. And then when I retired from that, my wife and I are working with refugees and persecuted Christians. And so it was just, this was here as the opportunity to become the source of income. And I do other things too. I do narration, I do video tutorials, and the YouTube channel here is really just the genus of it, not the genius. The genus of it is takes me so long to figure out solutions to some things, reading the technical directions using. I figure it out and then I just put it on channels, put it on the YouTube channel, do tutorials. So that's a bit about what I do. So I also, I have a server, I resell hosting on it. Like I said, narrating, just a whole bunch of stuff. I do some video work as well. But Ivor says the most difficult job is mail problems. You had two customers on the same server. One used Office 365, the other the local mail server. They could not send mail to each other. The issue was to set Office 365 mail server to remote and cPanel. Okay. Yeah, mail's pretty fiddly. And again, there's another thing that we can offer in our businesses, because people have a website, don't necessarily understand that there's a web hosting control panel. So I have clients and they don't want to do it themselves. They'll say, we have a new employee. Can you set up so-and-so with this email? So I create an email address. I send them a password, and that's great. Or I'll hear so-and-so's no longer working here. Can you shut off access to their email? And I manage it for them. That's a service that company is happy to have, and that can be included in a monthly role as well. So email is something too, getting email delivered and set up. And Office 365, there's so many different things that we can offer. And I think too, that's what happens as we are in that role where we are learning things and different people are doing, we're doing things for different clients, and they say, hey, I got a problem with my Office 365. I can't do this. Every time I try to open it, crashes. They say, well, let me come over and see. And then you do some Googling, you find a solution, you fix it. They're happy because they don't know how to fix it. They don't know how to find stuff necessarily in Google or follow the instructions. And you invoice them, and then they're happy. So, okay, so, all right, so budget for changes that happen in your business. Yeah, so for instance, let's say you go over to someone's house. How much would you charge for an on-site visit to someone's house? Recently I had someone contact me through my Google business page. They said, we're getting an error when we try to upload pictures to our site. I said, what's your site in? WordPress. And they were just a couple blocks away from me. I said, let me come over to your house in half an hour just so I can see what the error is. And they said, oh, how much is that going to cost? I said, I'm just going to look at it. And I said, if I fix it, you can pay me. Otherwise, I just come and look at it for free, because they're like just a couple blocks away. So I went over, and actually, it would have taken me more time to try to get them to set up the remote access and to look and figure out, because when I asked them questions, they weren't quite sure of what they were using, and I could tell how they were describing things as going to be a challenge to do remotely. So I went over and I not only fixed their upload problem, was just the maximum file upload side needed to be changed in their PHP settings and their web host. I showed them a couple of other things, and I charged them. I charged them for half an hour. I was like there an hour or something like that. But yeah. So then, if you're going to if you end up doing more on-site stuff, if they start recommending people in the community, say, have Tim come over, he'll fix it for you. Then you have to start to figure out other costs like the travel time, your gas, the efficiency of that time compared to other things that you have to do. So, as your business grows, there's things to consider. Also, there's things to consider as your business changes, because I have I'm looking into changing some of my servers, and I have one I don't need anymore. So instead of leaving it running forever and getting to it later, I need to quickly deal with that and get that cost lowered down. Stephen, good to know. He's been a full-time internet consultant since 2010, mostly Joomla, but some WordPress. Business is Joomla Gems. You get a free beer if you come to NYC. Wow. Thank you very much. Cool. Yeah, so since 2010. Yeah, internet consultant. I think that is what I've been describing to people. It's kind of hard. The great thing about the Chamber of Commerce is you get practice pitching yourself to other people. In the Chamber of Commerce, they're mostly sharks. There's very little chum. Of course, networking, you're going to get to know people, but and stuff will come out of networking. But a lot of people, I think, go to a Chamber of Commerce or to business group thinking, oh, I'll meet all these people, I'll get all kind of new clients. No, that's not how it works. But one of the big benefits that I've gotten, besides making friends and hanging out with people, is that I get practice. And I not only hear other people presenting themselves and pitching themselves, I also get practice at some of the meetings when I get a chance to say, hello, I'm Tim Davis, my company is CyberSalt, and then I get to craft and get more comfortable with that. So that's been really good the last couple of years. Ivor would charge a lot if you had to go to Canada. Oh, Ivor, yes. Ivor, you come to Canada, I'll take you out to see the big trees. And that will offset whatever work that you do for me here. Okay, hey, key takeaways. If you really want to continue to grow your business and reach long-term goals, there will always be the same best practices you have to be able to do. Learn to say no sometimes. For example, fire the client. We talked about that earlier. Only charge what you want to charge. Confidently take ownership of that rate. Yeah. When you're quoting a price, just practice saying it straight. Because no one's going to take you serious if you can't take yourself serious. I'm learning. So as I get into this self-employed full-time mindset, I'm learning to just state what I will do for money and the amount of money, and to just offer it out there. And if you offer it out and say that's what you do, and someone says, "Oh, I can't afford that," and then say, "Well, what would you say?" Say, "Hey, no problem, because there's lots of resources online. You can Google, you can teach yourself, and sure, look around. Maybe you'll find people that will do it for a different price." But say, "Hey, maybe just say, hey, no problem. I understand that, and because you've got a business to run too, I'm here if you change your mind, and let me know." In this person's experience, the best clients are those that value your time, your skills, and your pricing. Yeah, so we talked about that earlier. To build up your business, you need people that are good clients that want to build up their business as well, and you'll have something healthy. Otherwise, you're going to have struggles and frustrations. If a client is actively haggling over any of these three factors, then they are more likely to be remembered as, oh, them again. Yes. You'll likely find, I had one client who used to tell me, oh, could you just do this? It should only take half an hour. They had a mechanical shop. And everything they thought I should do should only take half an hour. And so I just kind of came to expect that that was what they wanted. Now, I maintain their site regularly, and I'm going to be letting them know my new price when I figure out a website maintenance plan, as I've said I'm working on. And I'm going to say, hey, I'm not offering the service anymore at this price. I've rejigged my business, and here's what you will get. And if you want that, great. But I understand this is a difference in price for what you were paying. And so if your budget is not that, I'll continue to be happy to work on your site at the hourly rate as you need it, and blah, 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 blah. And you kind of think, well, the small amount I'm charging them, I could still have that, but it still takes time and mental energy to remember that you're doing it for that lesser amount for them. It still takes the same amount of time. Plus, things change in business, and there's work that needs to be done So it may very well be that sometimes we give up clients in the search for getting other clients. You'll likely find the right client for you isn't everyone. And one piece of advice this person says he really likes is to not allow the opinions of other freelancers to determine what the right or wrong rate is for you. They don't know your circumstances well enough to judge what's suitable for you. Only you can know that. Make sure your clients understand this and set the right expectations. If you're thinking about adding website security services portfolio, we will be happy to. And then it says help you find the best solutions for your business. So they have a link there to their service, which is why Victor Santoyo is writing. He's an account executive for security. Yes, that last point about not letting the opinions of other freelancers determine what's the right or wrong price, that's really good. It's possible, because there are people doing what we do, many of the things that we do for much less on Fiverr, or Upworthy is another site. I've never been on Upworthy. And so, I cannot compete with Fiverr prices. Now, having said that, I might offer a loss leader service on Fiverr to make connections with people so they get exposure to my business. Someone that's coming to pay me $19 to do something because they're looking for the cheapest deal may not be the ideal client, and so you have to be alert to that. But someone who is looking to save some money or doesn't realize all the work that's needed involved, if you connect with them on Fiverr, you might be able to say, yes, I'll do this for you. There, it's done. I hope you're happy. I have tutorials about my about websites at this channel. Please check it out. Or you might say, so that's what I say in my case. Or you might say, I have other services here. Also, Fiverr allows you to quote custom jobs. So a lot of the jobs on Fiverr are loss leaders. But so, for instance, I just had an image converted to a vector for a client. It was a huge, really complex image. I saw this woman's price. I said, "Oh, can you convert this image?" And she looked at it and she says, "Oh, what's your budget?" And I said, "I was thinking such and such a gig that you're offering." She said, "Well, this is a pretty big file. It would take a lot of extra work." And I said, "Well, what's your price?" And she says, I would do this for 60 American. And I thought, okay. So I checked with my client and I said, I can get this done for 60 American. And they said, yeah, okay, no, that's fine. I want it done. And so we paid them for the extra work. It worked out great. I added a little bit for my time in managing it. And that woman got some good work. Now, she did really well, so now I know her. Maybe I'll go back to her for more custom deals. Sure, Fiverr takes a bit, but that's what's working for her. Stephen asks, am I selling monthly plans? You found that selling SEO services is the best route to regulate the monthly income. Do you sell SEO? Recurring income is key to putting food on the table. I do not sell SEO yet. I do have a client who has recently decided they want a WordPress site built. Everybody's been telling them how wonderful WordPress is, and they let me know that they wanted a WordPress site built, that they were going to go with a company, and that they liked me, they liked working with me, and afterwards they wanted me to run it. Oh boy. So I said to them, well, first of all, I said, probably shouldn't count on me on WordPress because I don't really know it well enough to be delivering exactly what you're expecting. And they said, well, maybe this is a good chance for you to learn. So I thought, okay, yeah, sure. If this is what they want, I'm open to it. I can't charge them all the time it'll take me to learn to run their site. But also I realized that they want me to be able to, part of their reason for having a WordPress site built was they thought if something happened to me, because I do tons of tech for them and web stuff, that they didn't know who to go to for Joomla. Now, there's probably a bit of a communication thing there that I could have set up differently for them. And that's something else we can talk about. How do we set up our businesses so that our clients are served if something happens, like if a bus hits me? But another service that I may offer them is to find a company that can do the work that they want me to do that I'm not able to yet, and make sure it gets done, and then I'll just charge a project management fee on top of that. Because in that sense, they do like me, and I want them to keep liking me, so I don't want to promise something I can't deliver. But they do trust me too, so I could perhaps manage it. So I'm waiting to just see how that works. But yeah, so SEO is one of the things, and that's why I thought of that, Stephen. SEO is one of the things that that they don't. Yeah, they talk about SEO. They want better SEO results, although I'm not sure that they understand fully how to achieve that. Yeah, so SEO is something an area that I'm hoping to expand into, or to be able to be offer. I think that too speaks well as a good reminder for us of our businesses, in that we can't do everything. So like I said earlier on, when that fellow at the wedding asked me if I did manage social media, and I said no. It's not something that I can be very intentional and successful at. Having said that, like I said, maybe there's an opportunity for me to partner with someone and to get something happening in that way. And the same thing works for anything that we don't feel confident in. I'm not a noob at running a server, but neither am I a raving genius at running a server either. And so I'm thinking, and especially for the one client that really needs monitoring, as I said earlier, to instead of me offering the server and being responsible for it and monitoring it, probably something I want them to have a contract with a company paid for monitoring server, a monitored server, managed server, and then I will just interact with that company as this other group needs. So SEO, Ivor says SEO is not a one-time job but an ongoing effort. Yes, SEO, Stephen says, is basically writing articles with keywords that people search for. Right now, you spend more time writing than you do with web development. And if you can write, you can probably do well with SEO. So that's encouraging to hear. Yes. I just looking at something on product on AppSumo, which was to help with SEO writing and keeps track of keywords and that. So yeah, so that's something that Stephen, how often for your clients, how often are you putting new content on their sites to help with their SEO? Do you offer a monthly thing? Do you offer 4 pages a month? And also, where do you get the business? Not the business, the information. So, for instance, the one client that I had that had the mechanical shop that would talk about, I'd say, well, it's good to put articles on your page. It's good for SEO and new content. And he said, well, just write an article about why bearings need to be serviced on trailers. I mean, I know why they need to be serviced, but to actually sit down and write a comprehensive or a sufficient article that has helpful information, it's going to take me more than 15 minutes. So, and then to do that, how much in a month? Then, let me just see. What did... Brian, you said that your website was Joomla Gems, right? Let me just scroll up here in the chat. You want to type you won't be able to paste the link in, but if you want to just type the name of your website and then leave a space and then what the ending is, take the dot out, then we can type that in and go check it out. Yeah, and everybody remember, if you've got monthly packages or stuff like that, then go ahead and let's post them and let's see what you've got. The other thing too is that here's something that you guys might have some suggestions. You think about it. You could email me, tim@basicjoomla.com, or put them in chat. I want to name my packages, and so that you could. There's basic, medium, large. One of the ones that really makes sense that I like is bronze, maybe like bronze, platinum, gold. But I have friends who have a hosting company, used to work for them, and they're still friends. And their hosting packages are copper, bronze, silver, gold. And even though they don't have the copyright on that, I don't want to be running my own business in the same community and just mimicking their packages. So I did think about gemstones. I was thinking about going with something like jade, opal, diamond, or that. But what are some of the different options that you use? JoomlaGems.com. Joomjitsu level. Oh, yeah. Let's see. Copy link address here. Let's go and check out Brian's page here. Yes, Joomjitsu. Oh, boy. What did I collect? Oh, man. I guess I better just click on this. All right. So, Stephen, you charge monthly with a fee based on the number of posts and the topic. So, you charge a personal injury lawyer $200 per month for a new post once a week. All right. Hey, this is a nice looking site. Joomla Gems, digital product, web development, SEO, social media, Joomla training. Cool. And in New York City. Great. You've got your about page and your services, website and development. Okay, it's website and development. And now, this is the other thing. Do you have your prices on here? Or do you have them contact you for a quote? Because there's two different approaches to that as well. Okay, yeah, and you're being really clear and explain that. You just relaunched your site, JoomlaGems.com. Still needs work. All our sites still need work. You got a blog there. Some kind of lorem ipsum happening in there. And you've got contacts, so. And the post is between 500 to 1,000 words. Okay. Cool. Nice. I really like, oh yeah, you've got sticky header there. Cool. I really like this image. That's not, I don't think that's New York. Oh, so you need to add the price, still needs content. Need to move the blog post over to, okay. I think it looks great though. Who is that? J51. J51. Is that, yeah, just looking who that template is. J51. Joomla. Joomla 51. Hey, who's going to Area 51 in September? I know I mentioned it on Monday. There's a Facebook event. Everyone's going to go storm Area 51 and find out if there's aliens or not. Joomla 51. I think I was just at this site the other day, maybe even on the live stream. Extensions. Testimonials, image, browse extensions, browse templates. Joomla 51, these are straightforward templates. Do they have their own framework? Finney says, no sane person is going. I have a client who's a YouTuber, and he said that he was thinking about going to do a video just so he could catch in on the hype. And I reminded him that probably even showing up down there might negatively impact his ability to travel to the States in the future. Well, they'll be met with the military for sure when they arrive, Chuck, yeah. But again, if they manage to get a couple of thousands there, if they mention a couple of thousands storming it there, they're going to have to do something more than just meet them. So who knows? Who knows? yeah, so Stephen says this company is based in Ireland. You met them at the Joomla World Conference in Rome. Good. And I think I asked if they had their own framework or they're just straightforward templates. It looks like they're templates, right? And here's how they've got their prices. This is something else I noticed too, where they highlight what they think is the best membership to get people's attention. Two things there. Probably mentally, that probably attracts you to this one. Think, oh yeah, I'll go with that. Clearly, that's the best one. Or else you think, oh, that's the best one, but I think I'll just go with one of these lower ones. As opposed to having, here, instead of having 4 to choose from, there's like 1 or 3. Yeah, you'll meet the same people there that think the moon landing is fake at the Area 51. Yeah. So let's keep talking about this. I do want, let's try out this. How much should I charge? The new school. All right. A potential client wants a proposal for a design project. Awesome. Answer 5 questions on how much to charge to make this project profitable. Let's go. What's the project? It's a web design. Next. Who's the client? They're a small business. Next. Also, they do have their own framework, okay? And you stop using UTheme, now you only use Joomla 51 and some Joomla Shack. Cool. What's your hourly rate? In dollars, let's charge $100 an hour. How many hours do you estimate working? Okay, hold on for a second. How many hours to build a site? Well, this is a little bit simplistic here. But the money business already making some money from it. So I don't know. Let's say they want 4 pages. They also want a shopping cart to sell 5 products. So to set up the shopping cart, probably to do the whole site is worth I don't know, 4 hours. That's 4 hours for a 4-page site. No, it's pretty light on the design. Probably, let's say 10 hours, and to set up the shopping cart, another 5 hours. Let's say 15. Next, is the project interesting? It's a project. Okay. After the project, I will hate myself a little. Nothing will change. Will look good in my portfolio. Man, this is a big one. This is funny because sometimes, you're working on something. It's like you give them the project and it's like, I can't promote that I built this site anymore because they've wrecked it. Which you can take a screenshot and say, here's what it looked like when I gave it to the client. But let's say it will look good in your portfolio. Next, you should charge $2,700. Your lowest price break even for this project is $1,650. But you should try and get it a bit more if you're not. You should try and get a bit more if you're not that excited. All right. Yes, Brian, I think that's Stephen. I think that, yeah, it's better to quote by the job. I'm still, yeah, and I've been switching over to that as well. So I just trying to value it based on that. Because you have to look at how much time it would take to build, and maybe that's a thing. I do want to charge more by the job, and I've been doing that with more and more things, but I still kind of get stuck in that thinking, like, how long would it take me? This is what my hourly rate is. This is what I meet. It should be worth this much. And I think maybe for a while, at some point, I think that's going to be clear in my head. Because I'll look at something and say, yeah, I can build your site for that for this amount of dollars. So I think it takes a certain, there's a lot of people that are in that hourly rate mindset as well when they're looking for work. And they say, how much you charge an hour? If you say, I don't charge by the hour, I charge by the project, I'll do it for such and such. They might not totally understand the value. So yeah, but I agree with you. Oh, Vinny, this is... This was a link that was included in the security article. The new school, how much? So, yeah. So that's kind of cool. But yeah, I agree with you, Stephen. It's better to price by the job. And that is, hey, I'll tell you, the room for improvement is the largest room in the world. And I'm living in that room. Let's see. Okay. Let's hey, I mentioned to you guys about my internet connection. We can keep talking about this, but let me show you what's happening at my home now. The local company here is TELUS. Not the local company, it's a national company here in Canada. And I was paying $107 a month for 150 megabits down, or megabytes down per second, Mbps, bits or bytes. Anyways, and 150 up. And then it's like I think half a terabyte of data every month. So they called, and I had no contract. So they called the other day. Actually, my wife took the call, and they offered twice the speed and unlimited bandwidth for the same price if I signed up for a 2-year contract. And this is the fastest internet that you can get in Canada. They're providing fiber. So check this out. This will make Mary cry when she's watching this, but and this is with me live streaming high def on YouTube right now. So this is at the same time downloading 329 Mbps. I think that's megabytes per second. And then uploading is perhaps going to be a bit slower. No, it's not. And that's me sending a lot of video. I also have Zoom open, but of course no one's in there. But yeah, so 320. So I am super happy about this. Not only the speed, but I'm also happy that I have unlimited bandwidth now. So I can start to really... actually, I thought that's another service I could offer people, off-site backup of their data. Now, I'd have to be very clear with them that this is not an environmentally controlled diesel-run facility in case the power drops down. But it is something else I could offer people if they want to start backing up their documents to my Synology or their files, then I could give them space and charge them. So, yes, Vinny, thank you. Megabits per second. Because when I was uploading to Dropbox yesterday, I was getting 17 megabytes a second. Stephen, thank you for coming on here, taking your cat Genevieve to the vet for her annual checkup. I hope everything's good. And yeah, maybe see you next week, maybe Maintenance Monday, or if not sooner. And the other comment, you said you've done some experimenting. You price your work by estimating the number of hours times 120. Then you add 20% and give them a price based on that, provided the job isn't too complicated. Well, that's helpful. Cool. All right, take care, Stephen. Thanks for tuning in today. Vinny, by the way, is up in Vermont, which is your neck of the woods. I know it's not like next door to New York City, but yeah, that is pretty fast. It's fiber, it's glass right to my house, to the side of my house. Then it's they had to put in a new router, but yeah, I'm pretty stoked about having that. All right, look at that, 12:58. Yeah, so I thought you probably saw that was just got the orange thumbnail when I went live today. I was just super behind, and I was going to do a thumbnail quick and put this up, but I realized I couldn't do it. But I'll have it up for the email that comes out when things are that has gone live. I am going to let Victor know. He's on Twitter, so I am going to let him know that we looked at this. So Victor, thank you, Victor Santoyo. Thank you very much for this great article. It was really good, and thanks to Nikki for sharing it, and everybody else. Vinny says the U.S. sucks for internet. Ivor's got 500 with fixed IP for 50 U.S. Wow. Yeah, the fixed IP is nice. That's cool. Yeah, Europe is really humming along with, has been humming along for a long time with fast internet speeds. I can get 1,000 here. Let's just see. Tell us internet packages. Let's just see what we can get here. But compare internet packages and plans. So pure fiber. So this is what I'm on. So you can get 750, 750, 130 per month. Oh, here's gigabit. This is 940. Yeah, gigabit for 150 per month. This is what I'm on here. 95. No, I'm not even on the 750. Yeah. Oh, here's what am I on down here? Here, 110, 300, 300. I'm on 300, 300. Oh, they've got 75. They switched me over from 150, which I was at 95. Now I think they gave it to me for the same price. Anyways, I'm happy. But I can go, I can go as high up as a gigabyte internet, which is 940 down and up, and unlimited data for 150. So, who knows? But you know what? I don't even think my computer can put out stuff at that speed for what I need to. But anyways, yeah, I was pretty excited about that. Pretty. And the other amazing thing too is I was just sitting down here at my computer working, and my wife came down and she's talking on the phone. It's just so she's talking to the telos person. I can hear it. She has it on speaker, and they're talking about selling for this higher speed at the same price. And I was like, wow, that's pretty cool. Years ago, I don't know if my wife would have even wanted to bother with going faster internet, but yeah, that was pretty cool too. It's like, wow, my wife is like, hey, do we want to do this? Yeah, sure, great. So that was pretty cool. Alrighty. So anything else? Anything else to share, or to say, or to do? I noticed nobody else posted your prices, but that's okay. It's all optional. Yeah, so I think that's going to probably wrap things up. I'm going to grab some lunch here pretty soon and actually do the thumbnail for this video and everything. But yeah, and let's see how things are going here on the screen here. Oh yeah, I got to figure out, yeah, with that internet change, I now have to figure out why it is that let's go like that. There we go. I have to figure out why it is that the Wi-Fi is no longer, the Wi-Fi that I'm getting through the wireless is not the same network as I'm plugged into. We'll have to figure it out. For the remote to work on Streamlabs OBS, your phone has to be on the same internet as your computer is on. Now, I haven't rebooted my computer yet since they changed this yesterday. So maybe it needs to connect to the new information. We will see. Anyways, everybody, thanks for your support of this channel. I keep looking over here because the camera's not there, is not there anymore. Anyways, thanks for your support of this channel. Waiting to get other things lined up for Watch Me Work Wednesdays or live streams. Yeah, appreciate hanging out with you with the ideas, the questions, and all of the chat today. And hope that the rest of your day is super great. Some of you are already into evening, others are in late afternoon, and for others it's just 1 o'clock in the afternoon here. So anyways, until I see you guys next, thanks again for taking part, being part of my life, part of my business, helping me learn, and for the encouragement of us learning stuff together too. So until the next time, enjoy your Joomla sites, and God bless.